So, yeah, I want to speak on two subjects. One is the topic at hand, and then the other one is like a situation with a man. So,
Okay, well, whichever you want.
which is okay. With the statue, I think there's just a long history of Black women not being portrayed well in society, and it has a direct effect on every single Black woman, whether she's
Yeah.
petite, whether she's like tall and slender, whether she looks model-esque. It is unfortunate because society puts these labels on Black women and this certain image. But the worst part about it is that Black men don't even stand up for the women because there would be no other race of woman that would be degraded, disrespected, and demeaned openly and publicly for so long, all the time, all over entertainment and media, and their men wouldn't say something about it.
Why do you think that
Like,
is?
I think Black men just have a lot of animosity and dislike towards Black women, generally speaking. Um, I speak generally. I never say like all of them are
No, that's
like this
fine.
or all of them are like that.
And why?
Okay.
Why do you think they have so much animosity? And how do the black women feel about that?
I mean, it really hurts as a Black woman, but I think Black women are becoming more desensitized to it and not really taking it as personal or being as hurt by it as much as because like with social media a lot of it's just being exposed that it's like the Black men that have the problem. I think before a lot of Black women used to like internalize it and think, oh my gosh, something's personally wrong with me, you know.
So
whereas now
what? Keep going.
whereas now they're kind of seeing it more like, no, there's something more wrong with him because every other woman is like trying to replicate a lot of Black women's natural features. Like women all over the world are getting a bunch of like plastic surgery, fillers, whatever, to get like how a natural, you go to the continent of Africa and like all these women don't have nearly any of this stuff, right? That's just
Yeah.
natural to them.
Yep.
So, but then at the same time, I'm not going to make it seem like Black women are also not taking stuff from other cultures, which I think is just primarily like the weave and maybe wanting to be light skinned.
hmm
But outside of like women are borrowing beauty from each other, you
Yeah.
know?
Nobody's happy with who they are.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
So,
Like,
yeah, I'm not going to make it seem like one race is better than the other, right? But a lot is being taken from Black women.
so what do you think the
So,
source of all of that is? What do you think the
I
source
mean,
of it?
the source of it is that is they're just naturally beautiful. Like
No,
everybody
no,
knows
no, like
something that's
like
beautiful.
the source of this like conflict between black men and black women.
Oh, the source. Okay, so the source of it, honestly, I'm not too sure because I think they just look outside and see like other women are better than Black women when they're really not. Like women are women.
Yeah. Like women,
Um,
like it sounds like it's low self-esteem, right?
yeah, on the
Yeah.
man's part though, like
On the man's
because you
part.
see these beautiful women and then you see that they're hardworking, you see that they're
Mm-hmm.
ambitious, you see that they're
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, you
Mm-hmm.
see that like they're willing to pick you up and be there for you at your lowest. And I think that just naturally causes a lot of resentment for men. Like whenever they do, Alex, what is this that you're doing?
Oh, it's a pump.
What are
Just
you
playing with it.
pumping? Why are you
Nothing,
pumping?
just
Okay,
just playing with it.
okay.
So it looks gay, my fault.
It's quite a distraction, but okay. Um, but yeah, so I think, yeah, it has to do with a lot of insecurity and low self-esteem. Like, and it's
Mm.
unfortunate that it is that way
What do you
because
think causes the low self-esteem? There's a lot of things that cause low self-esteem. Let's just say that. But amongst the black community, what do you think is the source of that low self-esteem?
I think it's because they're not as like speaking, they don't provide as much value to the community as other men do in their communities. But the thing is
Mm-hmm.
like they could do something about that. That's why it's like it's hard to say like what's the source of it, because
But they don't have the discipline. Like what you know what I
the
think? I think
discipline.
it's just I think it's lack of fathers.
Ooh, okay. A lack of the presence of fathers in the household.
A father telling his girl that she's beautiful, not mom telling her, dad telling her. A father telling his kid, "Don't fuck up or I'll beat you up. Go to school, go to work. Don't talk to that girl like that." Kids seeing mom be worshipped by her dad, by her husband. The girl seeing that and expecting
Yeah.
that from men. The men seeing that and wanting to imitate dad.
Right.
Like and that's I think it starts in the house. Um, like
100%.
lack of fathers like me when I was younger. I became, and I don't like it, but a player because I never had a father figure show me how to have one girl. I never saw that. you know and so when then and then you start re-listening to rap. What's crazy, one of the rap lyrics that I
Yeah.
remember,
Ugh.
and one of the rap lyrics that I remember when I was younger was this, and like I still remember to this day, and he was like, if you ain't, people say fucking ain't fun, they just ain't doing it right, or like, I don't just fuck, I fuck raw, like rappers, and you're like, I
Mm.
remember listening to it, I go, yeah, dude, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Like how many times have you heard fucking Pink Floyd telling people to fuck women raw? How many times you heard Led Zeppelin say that? Yeah, they say
No,
do
that's a
coke.
good point.
Yeah, they say do coke. Yeah, sure, but they don't say, "Oh, let's fuck these bitches." Like,
No,
and
I mean, that is such a good point.
it's just, and that's why it's like black culture is so like so attractive because of just how raw it is. No pun intended, right? You don't see music like that. Back then, black people weren't the same. Like back then, when you think of black artists, you didn't think of like drug addicts. Well, no, you don't. You thought of Jimi Hendrix, even though he was a drug addict, but you didn't think of him as a drug addict. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You didn't think of him like that. You didn't think it was hidden actually. So it's
Hmm.
kind so even the artists back then, they were more, that weren't as, like, I don't want to say ghetto, but it's true. Well, guess what? Back then, that's when that
No, you're right.
black people had more fathers. You know that, right? Like back then, they
Yeah.
had 70% of black families have fathers. Nowadays, it's 70% don't have black fathers in the household. And that
Well, and
shit, man,
then
I
mhm.
remember when I was a kid and I didn't have a dad. I remember, man, every time I saw a family with dad and mom, I was like, man, I wish that was me.
Well,
And it
yeah.
made me feel lonely. And
Yeah.
then it from there you start to develop bad habits.
I mean, those are all really good points, and it's something that
One of the points.
I've seen. You said?
Well, it's one of them, not all of it, but it's part of it.
No, I said all that you've said are good points, like with the
Hmm.
music and then also with the lack of having fathers in the household. Those are two things that I didn't grow up experiencing. So it's hurtful whenever there's this huge stereotype of like, oh, this is how Black people are, but then we're not all a monolith.
No, we're not.
There's like such a diversity of how people grow up, but then we're still kind of all like labeled and treated the same, and it like makes a Black woman have to work that can't relate to those things, have to work harder, or you face more like challenges from Black men because you're like, I'm not used to this. And then the way they come at you is like, they come at you with quote unquote, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not sorry to say it, but a lot of it's nonsense.
Yeah.
And, they come at you like that. And it's like, that's the challenge that I face a lot of the time because um, I did grow up. I mean, my father told me growing up when I was youngest, like, you're most beautiful when you get out of the shower, when you don't have any makeup. Nothing freaky, nothing weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah, 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 I know what you mean.
yeah. When you get out of the shower, you have your hair like right before you go to bed. So I grew up like knowing, okay, like I don't need a whole bunch
Hmm.
of makeup. Like when I
Hmm.
would put makeup on, or when I would put like weave and stuff, which I don't even like wearing weave anymore. I got to that point, but my dad was like, "Oh, you're wearing Punjabi's hair," like my dad used to like make like, tease me and stuff and be like, because you're wearing like Indian women's hair and stuff. So I grew up like knowing that, okay, what is original to me is beautiful, you know? And like going into this guy that I was like shortly dealing with or whatever. And I think a lot of it goes to all this like dating culture. What do they call this? Like hookup culture nonsense
Mm-hmm.
that is being taught to guys where they feel like I consistently come across guys that feel like they need to humble me. And I'm
You
not
know what's
even
crazy? For me, what annoys me is who they present as the representative of black people. That's what annoys me the most, right? Who's
constant.
the black version of fucking of that who that girl, the not Katy Perry, the really famous white girl. Come on, man,
Who?
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
White, fucking like bland white. Remember that girl?
Oh, Taylor
Taylor
Swift.
Swift. Who's the black version of Taylor Swift? All they have is a fucking sexy red, Remy Ma, fucking like twerkers. Like
Well,
just
they
like
don't want to because the women that are normal, they don't even that's what sells. But that's the thing that's what sells in about black women, not even to say in black community, generally all over the world. That is how entertainment and media promotes black women. And women that don't have that sort of image, they're a little bit that are different from that, they don't get as much promotion.
we gotta look at who like I personally I mean I think of like Beyonce. Well, she's famous, right? She's really
Of course,
famous.
Beyonce's
Yeah, she's
worldwide
famous. Yeah,
though. But
that's completely
but who
different.
was the
Yeah.
first person that you mentioned? Sexy Red.
Sexy Red.
Most
Cardi
people are more
B.
than likely right when they think of black artists now. Yeah, Beyonce is going to be at the top, but they're going to name her just alongside of Sexy Red.
Mm-hmm. And you
But
know what's
anyways,
crazy is
this
that
we're kind of
keep going.
digressing. We're kind of
Mm-hmm.
digressing to the topic of the matter, which was like the pickup artist stuff, right?
Oh, okay.
Because I was saying like I've been running into a lot of guys because I'm chocolate skinned. I'm a black
Mm-hmm.
chocolate skinned woman,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. I feel some of that, yeah, that does have to play into it because I had a guy recently, like, literally tell me that, oh, I I typically only like light skinned women. Like a few black men have told me this. I typically only like light skinned women. Those are, and these men are like dark, like black, blacker than me. Okay. Uh-huh.
The ghetto.
And I'd be like, what? But like trying to tell me like, oh yeah, so but I recently like I'm really feeling you. I really like your chocolate skin. Literally showing me pictures and videos of flirty messages between him and other women.
That's toxic, man. That's a toxic dude
That's
right there.
freaking beyond toxic. Like
Yeah, that's
I felt
toxic.
so disrespected and
Where are you
like
meeting these
trying to,
guys?
well, I've met some in the airport while traveling. I've met some like out and about. I've met some online, like a variety of places.
Mm. And they're all
So,
black guys, right?
well, the ones have been like the have been so disrespectful. They've all been black.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Isn't that funny, right? Like it's your own kind usually.
It's terrible. It
It's your
sucks.
own kind. But that's just how like that's like the people I don't know. I personally don't know, but I think that the people who appreciate you most sometimes are not the ones that look like you.
Yeah, because I've dated like Middle Eastern men, not dated as in like effed on, but just like been out, taken out, and all this other stuff, you know? And they don't come with that nonsense.
No, they don't. No, they're scared to be called racist. Sorry. Hello, are you
There's
there? She-
also
Sorry.
like they just don't, they have a different culture.
Yeah, but it's
Oh,
not just that.
goodness.
It's just that you know like you see black men from the way I see it, how they see it is that you're the type of black woman that breaks their stereotype. They see you, they're like, oh, wait a minute, like where's the statue? You know, and so you develop a perception of
Right?
how
Because the
black
girl
women are.
definitely is a slim, thick figure eight. Okay.
Yeah, and so
Yes, that's true.
when you don't act that way, they get shocked. So it's just that both sides are like traumatized by it, right? Guys are like most of those guys were raised by a single black mom.
Yeah.
And what happens when you're raised by a single mom? Mom is tired. Mom is stressed. All they see is mom pissed, stressed, angry, where like the whole thing. And so
Mm.
you start to you that's the example that you have of women what happens? You start to project that when you go out into the dating world. But if your mom was calm, if your mom
Mm,
was chilled, you wouldn't react that way to black women when you grow up because you were raised with a mom that was relaxed. It starts in the home. Mommy wouldn't be so stressed if the husband was working and she was at home. That and so the kid wouldn't see that representative as a woman, and thus he wouldn't need to project that upon when he grows up. A lot of these guys turn to prostitutes because of that.
yeah.
It turns to escorts because of that. Make them more cheater. They get HIV. It gets just a bunch of shit that
Mm,
happens, man. It's a cascading effect. And in my opinion, this is where some people may not agree. Race completely takes you off the eye of the real problem, which is family. Family. I prefer, and this
good
is
stuff.
crazy. People may not believe me. I prefer to live in a segregated country as long as I have my mom and dad. Because remember, after the civil rights movement, they incentivized families not to have the dad at home. They incentivized it. And after the civil rights movement, there were less dads in the home. Like just you see a dip. So yeah, segregation went away. That's great, right? We don't want segregation. But you know what happened? Black owned businesses went down too. Because due to segregation, black people were more united, right? They shopped at black owned things. But as after that tore down, they were like, oh, let's shop around whitey. Like you get what I'm trying to say? Like
Yeah.
it's one of those things that kind of like it doesn't make any sense because it's kind of like civil rights. Of course, it should improve black people, but what happened is that it made them dependent more on the government. If they traded away the dad for the government, and then the '90s crack laws got more black people into crack, destroyed the family even more, sent a bunch of black fathers to prison, and remember, like it was like if you do crack, you get 20 years. If you do go cocaine, which is a white people's one, you do like 5 years. Let's get the fuck out of
Hmm.
here, man. That's all racist shit. Biden did that
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
It's
So
personally, I
what,
have a
like
lot.
now?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. No, what are you
Go ahead.
saying? No,
Go
what were you
ahead.
saying? No, you go ahead.
Now, like, what do you think a solution could be?
The
Like, with
solution,
in 2025, what do you think people like youth, millennials, what can we do between
the
one another, like on a one to one basis, like a black
the
man to a
solu-
black woman? What do you think can be done?
the solution, unfortunately, is gonna be it's gonna be twisted to look racist by activists. That's the problem. It's gonna be
What do you mean?
twisted around to look. It's because you gotta understand, black people make a lot of sense. The problem is the activists that speak on their behalf and tell them what to get mad about.
Are
So
there
if I
thieves?
tell you,
Another thing is that they're thieves. Didn't that Black Lives lady? She's like had a like mansion,
that's
you
what I'm
know?
saying. And they make black people think that the real issue is whitey. But it's like, okay, tell me, how do you kids,
Right.
how are your kids able to go and loot a city when you're working? Why? Because there's no one else watching over them. There's only one parent. So when you're at home, your kids are gonna be somewhere else doing shit that they shouldn't have. So for me, like I was raised, my mom didn't like welfare. And I remember people talking about welfare that I don't want to earn more money because if I earn more money, I'll lose my welfare house and I'll lose my welfare. All of these things limit people, not just black people. Puerto Ricans too are also a part of it. Yeah, Jennifer, I'm talking to you, Jennifer. Puerto Ricans are also part of it, and Dominicans too. But we're not citizens, so we don't count. So they incentivize minorities to be poor. They incentivize it so that you can keep your house, but it keeps you poor. Like for me, it's all about
I
like
can,
not. It's becoming more conservative. If I'm being honest, because black people were more conservative back then. They
yep,
believed in religion. They believed in
yep.
God, and God comes with morality. God comes with like a package that says don't cheat, don't do drugs, don't steal, like shit that you know and so it comes back to being just more conservative. And I hate to say that because I'm not a conservative, right? I'm not. But
Mhm.
conservatives value family. Yeah, they cheat. They all cheat. Who gives a fuck? At least they still stay together. You know,
Everybody
conservative,
can.
yeah, it's more family, it's more
Hmm.
traditional, and that's black people need to go
Hmm.
back to those roots. The problem is that liberals would tell black people, no, remember they use religion to keep you down during slavery because the Bible said all slaves should respect their master. So because of that, you shouldn't be back. You shouldn't return to religion because that's what kept you down. No, motherfucker, no. That's gonna give your
Yeah.
kids a scaffolding, a framework how to behave. And I'm not
Tradition,
religious
like
myself.
a good foundation.
Yeah,
Well, I'm not
no, but they
religious and I'm not conservative, but I definitely do. I've always valued conservative values. Like, I appreciate them. And I think a lot of the issue, too, like you said, is the exact opposite is what was being broadcasted in all of the music, like of religion. Don't do drugs. Don't be a womanizer. Don't cheat on your husband. Don't,
Mhm.
and then the music is like, oh, first night you're giving them head in the back seat. You get what I'm saying? And so, and people listen to those things because the beats are fly. Like, I'm not going to joke. I like the music. I like it makes you feel something, but you have to be careful about the lyrics that you listen to, right? Because it all gets into the subliminal mind. And if
Yo,
you keep listening on somebody saying, I want to fuck on this, I want to fuck on this all day, all long, by the nighttime, you're going to want to fuck on something. You know what I mean?
there's this artist, I think the baby, and he in one of his lyrics, he was like, "I just want the face. I don't want the rest of you. I just want the
Right?
face. I don't want the rest of you." And
Which kind of,
I remember I was in Berlin. I was in Berlin like 5 years ago. I was like, "Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah, I don't."
see?
But you don't
Yeah.
notice what you're
So you were getting a
doing.
lot of face. So personal question, did you get a lot of face when you were in Berlin?
Look,
When
man,
you
I
were
don't want to talk
listening
about
to the
that.
music?
We're trying to be PG here, but just in general, yeah, I've objectified women. I became
No,
like
I mean, no,
sexist.
I was just being facetious. I was,
Yeah, I know, and I know. But like, yeah, but that's the point. Like, it made me fantasize. It made me go home watch it. That like that. But you're not aware of it.
mm-hmm.
Kids and adults are not aware of it. They don't know how influence works. You know, like if you know how you give a dog
Yeah.
the pills, you give your dog pills through a good treat. You give people, it's a Trojan horse. Music is a Trojan horse to change people's
Hmm.
behavior. That's why art was manipulated back then. Like they use art to get people to think of Jesus in a more majestic way. And they're using art to make black women like, it's like to perpetuate negative stereotypes. You know, and then it's just the
History
fact that
repeats itself, but
it's just the fact that they're making black people be afraid of white people, man. It's like, no,
and
those are the
hate
people who are
them.
going to
Because,
hire you. Like,
right,
what the fuck?
exactly. You're 100% right. And that analogy that you used was spot on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, and you know what sucks is that when you say this, the ignorant black people are the ones that are going to start calling you racist. And if I'm Dominican,
Uh-huh.
you're black, you're not Dominican. Like, you know, it's
No,
like,
but
yo,
like you
like,
said earlier, mhm.
mm-hmm.
But like you said earlier, race is the distraction. Race is always the detractor because they'll turn it into something that it's not whenever it's like, no, it all boils down to value and upbringing, right? And like morality and ethics, kind of. But all of that has been stripped through the music, through, even with like the welfare system. But really, truly, welfare was really created for like white women. Honestly, it
Yeah,
was. That's
yeah,
how it
yeah.
was initially created. And then they started to put all these like incentives, and you'll hear all of these like black men talk about, oh, they kicked us out the family, they kicked us out this and that. It's like, well, you willingly walked away. And even if they did kick
Mm-hmm.
you out, you could have returned.
Should have
So
returned.
that's like, it's like you can't, it's always a matter. I've seen a lot of the issue of like not wanting to take accountability.
Dude,
That's another huge
the,
problem.
the the way they talk about criminals, it's insane. It makes me so mad. They defend the criminals more than the victims. Like
Right.
my baby ain't like that. Like, yeah, your baby's an asshole. Like like you want to know why? You want to know why? It's because they don't want white people to see the negative stereotype. It's all about white people, dude. You know, you're perpetuating negative stereotypes, and the white people are going to look at it, and that's how they like. Not like I don't want to say they, but that's how they think. It's all about the white person watching and saying, look, they're doing that shit again. It's like stop giving a fuck what they think, man. Yeah, that's the situation is what it is. You are right now what they say you are. It's okay. You could
Mhm.
you only need one generation to completely turn it around.
Right.
You know, it's silly stuff, man. It's
So
silly
what?
stuff.
Well, I didn't get the resolution. So like, what do you think? Like one on one, because it takes
Well,
like that from individuals, right? Like unless we're like activists or if there's like some sort of like renaissance or crusade or like something. But what do you
I don't
think
know.
like Black women can do as
I mean,
individuals
as
for themselves
individuals,
when faced with those issues? Because I think Black women have done enough. So I think maybe it's more like how best can Black women navigate those type of issues on a one-to-one basis? Because from
I
what I'm seeing, a lot of Black women are just like, a lot of women in general, just like, I just don't want to deal with men, and I'm just going to go and live my soft life and create the soft life for myself because it's too much of a headache dealing with men.
you got the first thing is you got to stop the us. People are becoming tribal. This whole us versus them, black versus white, men versus women.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you stop that is literally stop watching the content on social media that talk about that. Stop watching those videos. Stop following those sites. I stopped watching the Breakfast Club because all they are is fucking race baiting. All they are is just putting black people, and I say that because I get mad because they're taking advantage of them, making black people feel like they're perpetual victims, like there's no opportunity for them. Like you'll have a black guy who's a lawyer saying how they're oppressed. I'm like, dude, really, motherfucker? You're a lawyer.
Yeah.
How you're not oppressed? How did you get here,
Oh
Miss?
my
I would love to be
gosh.
that oppressed.
Oh my
So it's
goodness.
it's 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 really that a lot. It's like when you have an appetite, right? You're not hungry, but you have an appetite. It's the same thing. You're not a victim, but you feel victimized because
Yeah.
you're told that there's a war. Oh, it's like that Asian guy that was in Vietnam that he thought the war kept going, but the war ended 30 years ago. But he was still in hiding. Like he was in hiding for 30 years. And like
I'm
the whole
sorry.
world moved on. I
It's
know,
not
right? That's so
funny.
sad. That's sad.
It's
The
the
whole world
no,
moved.
it's
Yeah,
the way you're
yeah.
describing it. It's not funny. It's not funny. It's just your
It's funny as shit.
mannerisms.
Yeah, the whole world, but that's how unfortunately some black like you've never seen. Like they're still some of them are still stuck in the 60s. They talk the
Yeah.
same. You even have a bunch of Malcolm X looking motherfuckers. They're still stuck in the 60s.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, man, like we're good. I've told black people. I remember one time one of my friends when I stopped being a Christian, I had no context of any culture. Meaning, I didn't know who Kobe Bryant was. I knew Michael Jordan, so I didn't know anything about black people. I didn't know anything about race. I didn't know nothing about that. The only thing I knew was basketball, right? So that's the only thing that I watched. So for me, I remember I had a black friend. I was like, "Yo, man, I love black people, man. Voted for y'all. I would have watched basketball." And he was like, "What you mean? But what do you mean? That's that all we provide?" And I'm like, what do you mean? I just watch basketball and you guys are good. He's like, but what do you mean by that? I'm like, nothing. Like I was really genuine. I didn't. I just. I was a Christian. I didn't know about race and like. But you see, like from my innocent mind, I was just complimenting him. But from his point of view, he was told that the world is against him. So something so
Mm.
innocent became venom in his mind.
Wow.
That's what race talks do to black people. They
Yeah.
they they see enemies where they're not. Yes, some are enemies. That's true. But sometimes the enemy that you're gonna have is your girlfriend's grandma who doesn't like her dating a black guy. That's your enemy.
Hmm.
Abuelita who doesn't like black guys dating her daughter.
Or your
Abuelito who
girlfriend
doesn't
herself. Or the girlfriend yourself
exactly.
that you think is supposed to be your sister and she's a hating ass bitch. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I think that I think things if people just stop talking about race, I know it sounds crazy. If you just stop talking about it, it'll go away. It'll go. I only think about race when I listen to a race hustler, like remember the lady Georgina that I talked about her. I think I even talked about it. I felt I knew she was black, but I don't think y'all ever heard me say this black lady. Maybe the
No.
Indian lady, but because I just like it's just a lady. Like I don't see that as anything different. But to a racist, they'll think about the first thing is her race, either whether the racist is a white guy or a black guy. I don't know, man. There's other channels that talk about that. I follow this guy Anton Daniels. You watch him? I think you do.
No, I mean, I've seen him, but I just feel like a lot
Yeah,
of what he has to say is like a lot of race baiting. I don't think he
yeah.
likes women in general. I think all of
I
these,
think so
like a
too.
lot of the podcast bros, a lot of them dislike women, even though they're like obsessed
Yeah,
with talking about them.
yeah,
And I think they're so toxic to
yeah.
society,
I
like,
totally agree.
especially because there are young boys that are growing up, and they're seeing this and they are being brainwashed to like already hate women,
Yeah, yeah. I
and
mean, you
to
know what
like
the
be
problem? The
violent
the
towards
problem
them.
the problem is that it goes both ways because you have Shira Seven, right?
Oh, okay, what you got to say about Shira?
Look, Shira is literally, to me, Andrew Tate version of women because Andrew Tate tells men to now look. I'm only talking about. I'm not talking about the sex slavery, right? I'm thinking about him before that, like
Hmm.
before the allegations, people still hated him, right? And before him, those things came out. I support him. I kind of saw his point. What he tells men, he pretty much teaches men to objectify women. Fuck them, leave them. Shira talks about get the money from the guys. Don't date broke guys. Only don't let them take you to the coffee shop for dates. It's different because it's a woman saying it, so it sounds less threatening. Fucking Andrew Tate looks like a villain. Bald, looking like Lex Luthor with his glasses. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he looks like a villain. Like
But
a
listen,
legit
but
villain.
whoa, okay. Go ahead, finish. I definitely
Now,
have a rebuttal for this.
I just think that they both teach men and women to objectify each other.